Hello, welcome back. In this short video, I would like us to quickly talk about the inner join, the inner join statement. That's the first join that we would explore in under this module. So before we go into it, let me explain the general syntax of a join statement. So the general syntax of a join statement is always written as follows. You begin by selecting the columns of interest from the first table. Then you type in the join type, either inner join, left join, right join. This is where you're going to type it. The right or left or inner, the type of join, and the join statement. Next thing that follows is the second table on the state how do you want to join them on the join condition. This is where you specify the common columns between the two tables. All right, so our focus again is on inner join. Uh, don't forget that irrespective of the type of join that you are trying to execute, the general syntax is given as follows. We'll see this later on. Let's first talk about this. So an inner join gives the intersection of two tables. Now, for those of you that still remember the mathematical or the set theory concept, which is known as intersection, this is a concept that returns the common elements between two sets. So if you have two sets, sets A and B, and you find the intersection between both sets, that is the common result or the common elements between the two tables. So it returns the intersection of two tables, returning the records that have matching values along a given column in both tables. Finding the inner join of two tables is the same as finding the intersection of two tables. To better explain the concepts and for better understanding, I have already drafted two tables. I've created two random tables. I call the first one the employees table. Employees table has three columns: employee ID, name, and department. And we have departments table, which has two columns: department ID and department name. If we want to show each employee against the department the person belongs to, so because here has the employee ID, the name, and the department ID. So if I want to write a query that returns the each employee with the corresponding department or the department the individual is, then I'm going to use the join statement. So I'll first show you the output, the expected output, before we talk about the join statement. So this is what we would have if I write a query using the join statement. So remember we said, I'm going to the inner join. Remember we said that the inner join will return the common columns. Like it will give you the records that are common. So in this particular situation, we would use the inner join to get those employees, the names of the employees and the department. So you can check that they have similar column, which is the department column. When we use the inner join on the department ID, not department column, department ID, what will be returned would be the following. So SQL will return the employee name, right? And the department of that employee. So the first employee here is John. SQL return John, and SQL look at the matching record. So since John is in department ID 1, so it matches the two columns, the two similar columns for the two tables, department ID 1, and return the corresponding uh, department name, HR. Then it goes to the second person, Alice, and to check what department does Alice belong to. So that is department 2, which is IT. SQL return IT. Then it goes to the third person, Bob. Bob to ask the Bob is in what department? That is ID 1, and ID 1 is HR. It's going to return HR. And then we move on to the next person, Mary. What department does Mary belong? That is department 3, which is sales. to return sales. And finally, David. What department does David belongs? That is department 2, which is IT. So this is what SQL will return for us. Okay, based on the intersection, the common column. So when you write a query, to return the names of the employee and the department they all belong to, right? Using the inner join statement. So this is how it works. I hope this is clear. Whenever you are working with SQL or inner join statement, this is when you want to return the intersection or the common column or common rows between two tables. So here is just an illustration of how it works. I'm going to show you this practically using my SQL workbench. Quickly, let us open workbench. This video might be a little bit long because we have to create the database, enter the values, the data, and write this inner join statement. This is just me trying to ensure that you understand every single thing that is being said here. So here's my workbench. I'm going to open it up, put in my password, my workbench password. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and ignore this. All right. So we need to create the database. Okay, so let's just call it employees database, right? I'm going to create a new database. I'll call the database employee. All right, employee. Okay, click on apply and click on apply and then click on finish. All right, so employee database has been created, which is this. Under the employee database, we have two tables. I'm going to create the first table. The first table is called employees table. Okay, let's call this employees underscore table. And to put in the columns, the first column is the employee. Let's check again. That is employee ID. The second, which is an integer, and this should be the primary key of this table. The next column is name. That is the name of the employees. Name. And name should be mvoucher. Let's make it mvoucher 20. All right, mvoucher 20. The third column should be department ID. We type in department ID, and department ID should be integer. Select integer data type. All right, which is meant to be the foreign key. So we will set the foreign key after we've created the second table. So this first table is created. All right, so let's go ahead and okay, this should be primary key. Let's go ahead and apply these changes. Apply and hit on apply and then finish. So we've created the first table. We can actually expand to see the first table that we've just created. Right click on tables again and click on create table to create the second table, which is the department table. So under the department table, we have department ID and department name. Let's double click here to enter department ID, and that should be int. It should be the primary key. And next we have department name. So department name is the second. Okay, let's put that together. Department name, the second column here, and that is mvoucher. Let's also use mvoucher 20 since the names are pretty short. mvoucher 20. All right, so we don't want this. Let's just remove this. Let's delete selected. So we just have two columns here, and go ahead and apply and click on OK. All right, so apply, and there we go. We have created the second table, employees table. Okay, let's set the foreign key here. Come back to employees table, go to foreign keys and choose our foreign key. Here is department ID, and department ID is under the table referenced called employees table, right? It's under employees table. I'm trying to reference the table that the department ID belongs to. So that is employees table, or no, departments table, because we are an employees table. So the reference table is departments table. And under the departments table, the department ID is that reference column from the departments table. Great. So having done that, we go ahead and click on apply and finish. So with what we've done by creating or choosing primary keys and foreign keys, this would help SQL Workbench to create a relationship for us. Before we start querying, let's go and check out if the relationship has been created. Hit on database, reverse engineer, and you have to click on next, the next button, enter your password, enter your Workbench password, and click on next. So select the database that you want to see the reverse engineer, that is employee, next, and execute. All right, so let's wait for this to be created, and then click on next again and finish. All right, so great. So you can see that our relationship has been created. That means the primary keys and foreign keys that were assigned or chosen work properly. Can you see the relationship? Awesome. So this is fine. Let's get back to local instance. All right. So the next step will be to put in our data. We have to go and feed our data in because these tables are empty. All right. When you check these tables, you see they are empty. Let's try to explore what we have under the department table by clicking on this little icon here with the power sign. When you click on it, it returns nothing. So which means that this table is actually empty. Okay, so how do we enter record? How do we enter record directly from Workbench? Now we find the icons here, edit current role, and the next one, insert new role. So let's edit the current role that has null. When you click on it, it activates the department ID. Department ID here is 1, and the department name, let's call the first name is what? HR. We go to the next role, that is ID 2. The department name for ID 2 is IT. Go to the third row, ID 3, that is sales. ID 3, this is sales. And the fourth role is ID 4, which is marketing. ID 4, and that is marketing. Okay, so I haven't done that. Let's go ahead and save this. So we've done this. What's the next step? Okay, click on apply, right? Click on apply and apply. That would update the table. So if you come again and let's run this query again. Now we have an output. Okay, we have an output which with the following records under department table. So let's do the same thing for employees table. When you run employees table, it comes out empty. There is no record there. Let's go ahead and enter the records. The first employee ID is John 1. So under employee ID we have 1. Then John, the name is John, and department ID is 1. Okay. The second employee is Alice. Okay, this is 2. Employee ID 2, Alice, and Alice belongs to what department? Department ID of Alice is 2 also. 2. Then the third person is Bob with department 1. 3. Bob, department ID 1. The next person is Mary, department 3. Mary, department, that should be 4. Mary, department 3. And the last person, David, department 2. We have 5, David, and department 2. Great. So with this, we've actually populated the table called employee table. Let's apply the changes and click on apply and finish. So great, we have the table employee ID with some records now. Okay, let's get back to query 1. So this is where we'd have to use the inner join statement. Again, how do we do that? Type in the select all, right? Select all from let's get this exact output. So I'm going to be selecting the employee name and the department, right? Employee name and department name. Okay, so select employee name, employee name, comma. Okay, what do you have under employee name? That's his name actually. So select name. So first of all, let's activate. Let's make this database deactive by right clicking and clicking. Right click on the employee, then choose set default schema. So select. I want to select name, comma. I'll select department. This column is called department name. Department name. Department name. I'm selecting these two from the first table. You know, these two columns are coming from two different tables. I'm selecting name from employees table and department name from departments table. So the name we're selecting is from employees, right? Employees table. Okay. Okay, first let's just run this one first. Let's run this query. Select name from employees table, and you can see we have the names of the employees. Okay. Next we want to add the department name. Department name. So when we add the department name and we try to run this query, we'll see an error. All right, so what's the error showing us? Let's expand this box, this region. It says select name, department name from tables, unknown column, department name in field list. So that is, it's saying that this particular column called department name is not part of this table. So because department name is a column under the department table, we will have to join using inner join. So I'm going to state inner join department table, inner join department underscore table. You get that? Department underscore table. And to ask you how do you want to make this join, so we join on the common column, and the common column between department table and employees table is the department ID. So on employees table dot department ID equal to department table dot department ID. Okay, so this is how I want to join these two tables. All right, so let's select this query and then run it to see the output. Amazing. So can you see what we have here now? This is which is exactly the record as we explained earlier in Excel. Can you see the output? That is exactly what we have here. So it has returned the common records, which are the names of the employees and the corresponding departments they fall under, which is using the inner join. So let's run this query without specifying inner. Remember, we've been running a lot of queries during other modules and previous weeks. Let's see what happens if we don't specify the keyword inner. And let's run this query without specifying inner. When I run the query without specifying inner, we have the same output, which means without calling the keyword inner, by just using join alone, by default, what you are actually running is an inner join. So an inner join statement gives you the common results or common tables, common result from two different tables. So I hope this is clear. That is how inner join works. We've just demonstrated this with one particular database called employee. We are going to see other examples in the part 2 of this video. I really sincerely want to keep this short and simple. So I'm going to have a second part because this video is getting so long. We'll have a second part where we'll then explore more about inner join using the database, Chinook database that we've been working with from the beginning of this training. Okay, guys, so we would meet again in the next video. Thank you for watching this, and I hope you understand what I have just explained. All right, I'll see you again in the next video. Please like, comment, and share this video. And let's see you again in the next one. Goodbye.